couple of years down the road, uh, you are having what you consider to be a creative renaissance
Oh Lord. What
in
does
your own
that mean?
work. You've been developing like a new act,
Okay.
and it's taken a little while for you to put this together. You worked on it. You're pretty obsessed with it nonstop for about a year, and you
Okay.
feel like you finally figured it out, and you're ready for it to be, seen by the public. You know,
Yeah.
you think about all those long, sweaty nights running through your act, and at first just eating shit all over. There wasn't an open mic that you didn't hit up that year that you
Yeah.
didn't just absolutely die for
Tight.
3 minutes and one item purchased at a time. But you didn't give a fuck. You knew that you had something good. And you refined it, you worked on it, you stretched it out, You got
Yeah.
some pretty bad notes from some people. You got some pretty good notes from some people. And you finally put together something that you're ready to unveil to the world.
Yeah. What is it?
The Monsters of History tour. Basically what you're
What the
doing
fuck?
is you're doing stand-up comedy. You play multiple characters throughout the evening. You go out to like venues and it's like it's the Monsters of History tour, Monsters of History tour. And it starts off with you doing stand-up comedy about history. And then
I don't know anything about history.
that's the thing. That's why it took you a year to kind of really figure this set out. And you tell jokes about history. And then you're like the opener. And then the bit is that your feature comic is like, a different person in history doing stand-up comedy. And then your headlining act is a different person from history doing stand-up comedy. And you call yourself the Monsters of History tour. So it's you as yourself, then it's Ben
Jesus
Franklin.
Christ. Me as Ben Franklin?
Yeah. And then Jimi Hendrix. So
Are you fucking
you
serious?
yeah, you learned to play guitar for this. That's how dedicated you were.
He was
And
left-handed and like a black man.
sure. So you have like, you don't necessarily, I'm not saying you're not like wearing blackface or nothing like that. And you don't even play guitar left-handed. That's like your one thing that you concede. But I'm not going to say that you're like an incredible, guitar player, but you dedicate yourself to like two Hendrix songs and you learn to definitely fake your way through it enough to fool the general public. The real six string slingers in the audience, they'll definitely notice, but those guys are few and far between these days.
So I'm faking my way through two Jimi Hendrix songs.
Yeah.
That's all
But,
that I learned.
again,
Okay.
rest assured, you're not going to dress in an offensive way or anything like that. You're just gonna, you're gonna put on like you're gonna dress like a 60s hippie, you know what I mean?
So logistically, how does the handoff on this show work?
Well, you have like a host. You have
So,
somebody host and they do a few minutes in between the acts. And
oh
then they're like, "All
man,
right, you
that
ready for
sucks.
your next act? It's get on your feet." He's you've seen him on the $100 bill. Ladies and gentlemen, Ben Franklin. And like you come out and you're like, "Yeah." And like you're like, "You tonight you can call me Ben Fun Clint." Everyone's like, "Yeah." You wink.
Man.
It's like anyway. So then after that, you come out as the host goes up, does a few more minutes. You come out as Hendrix, and and you know the song Purple Haze.
Yeah.
So
Purple haze, purple haze.
You feel like if the Jimi Hendrix thing works out well, you're thinking about doing like a Prince version at some point. But anyway, so you do Purple
Wild.
Haze, like you learn to play that and you write like your own version of it, like you write a song to the melody of it, like in a comedic
I
way.
read a parody. I read a parody
A
song to
parody
Purple
song for
Haze.
Purple Haze, yeah.
What's the premise of my parody song?
You go, eating Lays, chips in my face. Lately, I am a big disgrace. Chopping chips, and I know why. Dun dun dun. I'm really fucking high. Bow now down. Bow 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 bow. People go crazy for it.
So it's about a stoned guy eating chips.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you close big. You close with All Along the Watchtower. Like that's the parody that you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, your parody version is like instead of all along the watchtower, you go, I've been jerking off a lot.
Oh
Oh,
no.
yeah, that is true.
No. Come
I
on.
gotta get it out of me, or else my life is through. It's a song about, your need
And
to jail.
close on a jack track like that.
The reason you do that, so context is everything here because you basically talk about like you have like a in your act as Jimi Hendrix you talk about Jay Owen and stuff.
Jesus. It was a very blue Jimi Hendrix.
Well, yeah, he did that like plaster of like his dong, remember? So
I don't
he
think that's
he was a
okay.
sexual he was a very sexual person, and so you incorporate that into your act, and so that's why he's singing about Jay Owen, and so it's basically it's something that you think is funny, but it's also you feel a statement that you're making.
What statement would that possibly be? Pro masturbation. People are going to look at me and assume that anyways. I don't have to convince anybody that that's my stance.
And Aaron, the Monsters of History tour is doing gangbusters. And
So is
you
every show me, Ben Franklin, then Jimi Hendrix, or do I have like another roster of
so
characters that I do?
your thing is that you're focusing on these characters right now, but you always in the back of your mind are thinking like, okay, like you're going to stay with these characters for a while and maybe figure them out and evolve them. But eventually you're going to have to bring in new characters. So in the back of your head, you kind of have that going, almost like
I feel like
subconsciously.
this is probably what Jeff Dunham went through.
Yeah, you actually like get a letter
You
from
know,
him.
oh no, I don't want a fucking letter from Jeff Dunham.
You
Let's see,
get
I've got
a
this racist puppet, and I've got this racist puppet, and I'll fine
it's
tune these two racist puppets.
he he actually sends you like a handwritten letter. He has gorgeous handwriting.
I bet he does. I bet he fucking does.
And you look at the immaculate handwriting of Jeff Dunham and basically it just says like, you know, enjoy yourself out there, but don't get too into character. He keeps, gives you, some pretty good advice about like lighting the stage and stuff like that. And then he ends it with like just something racist. And you're like,
Right.
oh man.
Yeah.
So
I'm
anyway,
glad Jeff Dunham is giving me lighting cues. Fucking prick. He
no, but you,
would.
you actually do take his advice and it actually helps. You go in, the next day, and you like walk out onto the stage and there's like a guy working the spotlight up there
Yeah.
and you're like, hey buddy. And you're like, you don't like the person up there doesn't respond, but you see them like in the darkness, you just see like a cigarette lighter like flash up almost in
Yeah.
response as he like coolly lights his cigarette, says
Yeah.
nothing. And you're like, rotate it like 90 degrees, please. And at first, like he doesn't like do anything. Like it's almost like he kind of looks at you and kind of like considers like who he's looking at, like what? And then after like a pregnant pause, like he actually does rotate it. And then like you go, all right, thanks. And as you walk away, like you hear from that spotlight, you hear like you hear a voice be like, I'll be damned.
Yeah.
Like he's like impressed with like how much better it like that lit the stage.
Yeah. What a smug thing to do. Telling somebody how to do their fucking job. They're the professionals.
Well, you made a you know, you made a just your feedback, you know, everyone's open to feedback.
All right.
I mean, it's not he doesn't critique your jokes, but you know,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
lighting, I guess, is wasn't up to snuff for you.
No,
So
that's not what I'm
you
saying at
just,
all.
so you're doing the Monsters of History tour uh around mostly, you know, places in LA and stuff. You end up doing a gig at the Museum of Los Angeles History. They book you there, you know, for obvious reasons. You're doing the Monsters of History. They're the History Museum. It's a no-brainer. Plus, you get a cool $2,000. You also get like a membership to the History Museum.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So you perform there, things go really well. And afterward, you do like a Q&A, just as yourself, with the artistic director of the History Museum. Her name is her name is Cassandra History.
Jesus.
She's a descendant of the History family, the founders of the Museum of History.
Wait, what? So in this event, does the history refer to her family? Like this is a museum dedicated to her family's history, or is this for like the word history and all documented record of human existence kind of
So
history?
it's about history. It's not about the family themselves, really. I mean, there's a small section of it where they just explain who, you know, her great grandfather was, why he founded this. Um,
He just
he
happened to have the same name. He
well,
just happens to be called this.
he
He
changed
changed
his
it.
name. That's how interested that he was in history. He came over to America. He had a different last name, but when he got to Ellis Island, they basically were like, "Wait, what's your name? We can't read this." And he just went. He just looked up and he said, "History." It was the only word he knew in English. And over the next few decades, he built himself up and became a billionaire. After
Wait. He came over to Ellis Island
huh?
and then became a billionaire.
Later on, yeah, he worked his way up. Like it's like the classic American dream story. He came from a country where he wouldn't even tell people where he's from, but he built himself up and became a billionaire. He was like almost like Andrew Carnegie or whatever. And so he basically became this billionaire because of he was in the importing and exporting business. And eventually, you know, with his money, he was able to branch out into other things. And so he decided, because of his love of history, and I mean, he loved it so much he changed his last name to it. Um, he founded the Museum of History, and it's about the history of Los Angeles, you know? The city that he loved so, so much. The city that he died in, though no one knows where he's buried. Everyone forgot.
Fucking cares.
So, later on, he he ended up getting syphilis and losing his mind, and he like chopped the hands off of his butler before he was, shot and killed.
Jesus Christ.
But luckily, that was after he, did the endowment for the history museum. So afterwards, so he's talking to her, uh, Cassandra History, and the great granddaughter of the founder, and she's, she's like, oh, where did your interest in history come from? And you're like, to be honest with you, the History Channel, and like everyone, like, the crowd's like, oh, they like laugh and stuff.
Jeez.
And so you're having a conversation with her, and she goes, well, I actually have some pretty exciting news for everyone. The Museum of History, we've been trying to do this for years, but finally, the the federal government has given us the ability to do citizenship tests here. And everyone's like, oh, and they all like clap. Like it's like the American dream, coming here, becoming a citizen of these United States of America. And like you look into the crowd and like people have like they're all like their eyes are welling up with tears. They're so proud.
Jesus
And so
Christ.
and so she looks at you and she goes, Aaron, with your love of history, I think it would be really, really fun for you to be the very first person to take our citizenship test. And the crowd goes wild. And she's like, and now everybody be nice. Like, he didn't study for this. Just keep that in mind. Everyone like laughs. She's like, you do have to have some preparation, I guess. And so, and they give it to you, and you just kind of sit there and you're like, okay.
I would
And
go,
you,
I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I said this, there was no mention of this. I'm out of school for decades at this point. Like, there should be no expectation that I will have retained some information. Also, I'm not good with history at all.
yeah,
Even if I
famously so.
would have been taught it, I probably would have forgot it, but there's been so much I haven't been taught.
Uh-huh.
It's pointless for me to do this. It's going to be absolutely humiliating.
Right. But you're in front of
I don't care.
a big crowd, a paying crowd, people
Well,
who
that's even more fucking reason, Pat. What do I gain by doing this? What do I
these are
gain
all they're all
by
history
doing this?
heads.
Yeah, exactly. What do I gain by taking this test and failing it miserably? Like I'm not even gonna come
Yeah.
close, you know? I'm not even gonna
Right.
come fucking close, Pat. What do I gain by doing that?
You look up, and so the people there are people who are like, they sit on the board there, or they're like, wealthy, what do you call, benefactors, philanthropists, stuff like that.
Yeah.
They've passed a hat around, and they all took like the cash out that they had on them and like put it in there. And by the time it gets to the front, there is $1,700 in there.
Are you fucking kidding me? I'm not gonna humiliate myself in front of these billionaires and they're giving me $1,700. These
Yeah.
people are wealthy benefactors and they're giving me seven. No, fuck this. Fuck this. I mean, I would just tell them,
What would you say?
hey, I would say, look, guys, I went to a very bad, poorly funded public high school. Um, when I took U.S. history, the U.S. history class, we did not make it into the Civil War before school ended. So we were not taught anything about conflicts from the Civil War onward. I was a junior in high school when that happened, and just never really had an interest in
Yeah.
history outside of having to take classes on it. So I've never had a thirst for that knowledge because frankly, I feel like it just doesn't impact my life at all. So
Right.
I'm not gonna take this and bomb in front of everybody. I'm also not somebody who feels like there should be, some this is like means testing bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't like this. And I feel
So,
unprepared and
yeah.
frankly a little offended that you would spring this on me in what is going to surely be a humiliating, highly publicized moment.
So you say that to them, and everyone's like, whoa. And you just like kind of like skulk off set, you know?
Yeah, I'm pissed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you go home that night, uh, you crawl into bed, and you fall asleep.
Okay.
So you come to, and
What the fuck, Pat?
you are in an all white space.
Yeah, really?
Yeah. A room with no walls. There's no, it's just all pure. The whiteness is like pure, like nothingness, essentially. You know what I mean? It's just it's the only thing that your brain can kind of translate at the moment. There's nothing else there. You feel like you're alone in an empty sea. And you realize you don't know how long you've been standing there for. It could be a minute, could be 10 hours. Dream time is not like regular time, you know?
Yeah.
And when you come to, is when you realize you're hearing like a noise finally, after what feels like what could be 10 million years. And you're like, huh? And you turn around, and the noise is a dripping noise, you know? And you're like, what?
Yeah.
And standing in front of you in this all white space is this guy. He is 9 feet tall. He's dressed like a clown, and he is holding a balloon that has your face on it. And the dripping noise is like blood coming out of both of your eyes
My
on the
own
balloon.
eyes.
Yeah, and like it's dripping down and stuff. But you have the biggest smile on your fucking face,
I hate this.
grinning and bleeding, you know? And the guy, the clown standing in front of you goes, hello, Aaron. My name is Dreamy
Dreamy
Dan,
Dan.
ruler of the dreamscape. And welcome to Aaron Brooks is going to Japan.
We're 25 minutes into this thing.
The balloon pops. You wake up and you're on a plane.
God damn it.
And sitting across from you is like this kind of like government official type dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's like, hello, Mr. Brooks. My name is Corporal Smudge. You're probably wondering what's going on right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I woke up on a fucking international flight.
He goes, well, Aaron, um, last night when you didn't take that citizenship test.
Are you kidding me with this?
Well, we that was the first official citizenship test that we gave out, but that means it was an official filing. So this counts as like a 0%.
Well, I
And
didn't fucking sign up for this. Nobody told me a goddamn thing about this test, or I would have like looked some shit up first, you know? Plus, how are you going to send me somewhere else? I've never been out of the country before. What the fuck is this? Is horseshit.
they're like, yeah, so he tells you that you're basically getting deported to Japan.
Why? Why Japan?
So this is a few years down the road. There was a president in power who made a couple of, I'm not going to say disastrous choices, but kind of strange choices.
Yeah,
And
it sounds like I'm being stuck in fucking Japan because of one of them. Sounds disastrous to me.
yeah, so President Chet Lightning made a
Are you
law
fucking
that
kidding me? This son
if
of a bitch.
if you fail a citizenship test like badly, then you can get deported.
I don't want to hear this guy.
And one of the it's amendment, it's like a new amendment or whatever. And so it was the last amendment that was added to the Constitution before President Lightning went missing. And so
Good.
and the country that the only country that agreed to this was Japan. And so the government official is like, look, I know this is crazy. Like, that's a crazy law. We understand that this is really strange what we're doing, but
Then
we
don't
have to
fucking
follow.
do it.
He goes, well, look, we have to follow protocol.
So you're gonna drop me in a foreign country where I have no support system. I don't speak the fucking language. How much money do I have? Now I have to rent a fucking place. Like, what is this?
He goes, Aaron, baby, bubby. He goes, look, part of what's going on right now is there's lawyers back home in America working pro bono on this, trying to get this amendment overturned. It makes no sense. You know, that and the
Then
other
how did it
amendment,
get put into place in the first place?
he was just a very effective politician. He was kind of
God
like
damn it.
Johnson. He fucking went to both sides and said, got in your face and said, stop fucking around. Get this done. What do I have to do to get this done?
Yeah, that big
That you
hog.
stop fucking around. He would do that thing. He'd get in your face, and then he'd be like, "Look, you're like the most important person on this committee." You know what I mean? He's such like flattery. He would just go back and forth, and you're like, "I don't know where the fuck I stand with this guy." So everybody was trying to please this guy, and so they agreed. And like years
I hate
later, they
him.
realized this is kind of strange. There's another
Yeah.
amendment. There's another amendment.
How many amendments did this guy get put in place?
There's three. There's that
What?
one. Yeah. So there's that one. That was the last one that he did. Uh, the other one was no talking in the movies.
You fucking kidding me?
That one isn't as enforced, to be honest with you. That one is people kind of see that one as. So and then the third one that they put in there, um, this one people are actually kind of on the fence of getting rid of. Everyone everyone in America gets free martial art lessons. If you want to, you stick with it. You stick with it as long as you want. Technically, you could do it long enough to become a master. You know what I mean? But you get to pick, what type of martial art. Boxing, karate. Most people pick karate. And so,
This sucks. The further UFCification of the United States.
so that's the other amendment that they did, free, karate lessons. So that one, people are like, kind of like, well, I don't know, it is kind of cool, and like, people are getting kind of shredded. Like the karate craziness that America went through in like the 70s or whatever, people became like in America became like really into it. Like it's kind of like rejuvenated itself. You know what I mean?
Okay,
It's
whatever.
like it's a fucking Ouroboros, a snake eating its own tail, except it's karate.
Snake
And
sucking
so
his own dick.
a snake sucking his own dick. Um, and so that's the symbol that the that you see in your dreams sometimes.
The snake sucking his own dick or the
The snakes,
Ouroboros?
well, both of them. But in
Okay.
this Ouroboros, instead of the ancient, alchemist symbol of a snake with forming a circle with its tail in its mouth, it's a snake forming kind of a circle because at the end he's sucking his own dick.
Yeah, he's got to like bend its head around to get there. Or use that snake tongue.
You call it the Ourodicus.
Oh God.
Man, the Ourodicus rules. So anyway, so He's like, so, people are looking to turn over the other amendments that he did, and then they're going to come to this one. In the meantime, what we've done is with the agreement of the Japanese government, we have set up some housing for people who are affected by this. We know that this is crazy to drop you off as an adult in a place where you don't know the culture, you don't know the language, any of that. So basically, we're going to set you up with a place to live, and you're going to live there until we figure out a way to get you back
That's fucking
into
insane.
Los Estados Unidos, baby.
Why wouldn't they just teach people about fucking why wouldn't they just teach people instead of like having to banish them and build housing and spend money on air? Like this is like government waste in action.
That
And
well,
when in
yeah, he's
reality,
well
I'm just a
aware.
symbol of a failed education system.
He nods and he does you can see in his eyes that he has empathy for this. You know what I mean? He's like, I this is crazy, man. I know. I don't want to do this. That's why we're
Then fucking
we're trying
don't.
to. He goes, I can't. They're the commander in chief and all that. He's like, I have to. We have to follow this law until it gets overturned. So until then, we've got you set up pretty nice here in Japan. There's going to be a bunch of expats living there.
Who are these people?
Other
I
people
thought this
who
was I thought I was the first one who failed this fucking thing.
well, they'll be there eventually.
Oh, so I'm there. I'm by
Oh
myself
no,
in
no,
this
no, no!
fucking
I'm sorry. So that was the first citizenship test that History Museum could give out. They've been giving out citizenship tests at other places for like years before
this
that.
fucking sucks.
So there's going to be like a village almost of you know.
Dumb fucking dumbasses. It's just a bunch of fucking dumbasses. It's a village full of idiots. All the village idiots who don't know shit.
So
It seems like it's gonna be that, and it's gonna be a bunch of like immigrants who
yeah,
they've like specifically targeted, who would have no reason to know shit about U.S. history.
yeah, and so the people who live there already, for the most part, they kind of keep to the area that they all live in. You know what I mean? But it's not like unheard of to go into to go into the city and stuff like that. And you're not prisoner. You can do whatever you want. So you're given a stipend, so you don't have to work or do anything like that. So because you don't have to work, that's why a couple years down the road, Aaron, you have gotten really into origami.
I am like the worst Christmas present wrapper in the history of family. Like
Yeah.
I am not good with that. I have no desire, and I don't think I possess the fine motor skills to be good at origami.
So that's what you told them. The first few weeks that you were stuck in what it's designated as, it's technically designated as an army base. That's how they're able to like have it there. It's like this whole crazy convoluted thing that they have. So it's officially the air base USS Stallone. That's what it's called technically. But you guys just call it Stallone City. So
Ford Stallone.
So you're there at, Stallone City, and you
Ford
are kind of
Stallone.
going a little crazy. You're feeling like this is crazy. Like, how did this happen? This is
Yeah,
nuts.
yeah.
And there's a guy there who is kind of your guide to living in Japan and guide to, Japanese culture and stuff like that.
Sucks. I hate all of this. This is
You
such
can't.
bullshit.
It's dude. Everyone agrees. It is bullshit, but it is the law. For now, they're working on it. So this guy, his given name is kind of hard for you to pronounce. So his like name in English is like kind of nickname is Grant. So Grant is kind of almost like a liaison. You know what I mean? between you and, he shows you where the grocery stores are, where to get food that you're used to, stuff like that. But also, has you try a few new things and stuff like that. And he tells you, like, look, man, like, I can see that you're going a little stir crazy right now. You need someone to focus on, someone to help pass the time. And he's like, oh, I should, maybe I can show you, like, you know what origami is, right? You had to do that in school, I bet. And you're like, oh yeah. And you have a flashback to you being like in fifth grade, you know what I mean? Making like an origami dick in class as a joke. And like all the kids laughing and you laughing, and you kind of like snap back and you're like, no, never have. And he shows you how to do
Change.
it. Grant is really good at it. And you kind of get like
He shows,
really
wait, what does he show me how to make?
origami, just the normal stuff like the
Like a
basics.
swan.
Yeah, a swan, a frog. He makes like he does this origami thing where it's a volcano and he has like a thing inside it that if he pushes it like up, it looks like there's like, oh no, it's like erupting,
Erupting.
Yeah, an erupting volcano.
I don't want to hang out with this guy.
You don't hang out. He just kind of like sets this spark off in you to learn and get really good at origami. And it's all you fucking do. Even though you tell him like, yeah, like, I'm not really, dexterous or whatever. You There's something about it that you can just do it for hours and it feels like no time at all goes by, you know? Eventually, like by the end of like the week, you look up and you have like 35 like swans, you know what I mean? And you've arranged them in like a circle around your bed. And you're like,
Humiliating. I'm an adult.
so that night, you exhausted and spent, you you crawl into bed, you pull like the covers up, you know what I mean? And you're about to fall asleep when you notice all of the swans like kind of like look up at you and
Are
like
you
their eyes
fucking
like
kidding me?
glow.
What the fuck?
And they all kind of like flap their wings into the air soundlessly, though they're, in the air in front of you. And you're like, huh? And they don't say it out loud, but like in your brain, telepathically, you hear like, what shall we do, master?
No, I hate these. I don't want anything to do with controlling these swans. They're not real. They're origami. I would say go back to sleep.
And they go, yes. And they all like float down gently. They land perfectly. And then before they fall asleep, you hear them all say in unison, we love you, master. And they fall asleep.
I definitely don't say anything back in response. I hate
So
this.
the next day you wake up and you look over and like, they're just origami. And you're like, what the hell? What do you do?
I mean, I want to discard these things,
Yeah.
but
What?
I fear, I'd probably just leave them because that felt like a very real experience.
Uh-huh.
I'd probably turn on like a recorder on my phone and go to sleep with it on.
Okay. So that day you go about your day doing whatever. That night, you crawl into bed absolutely spent and exhausted. And you pull the covers up and all of the swans do the same thing. Their eyes blaze like, twin suns in the night and they just kind of like float up. And then you see that like a bunch of like the frogs are now there behind you, and like they do the thing where like they go like "Rup, rup, rubbit, rubbit," and like their like necks go out, you know what I mean? And
Yeah, yeah.
when they do that, it's almost like there's like a ball of green light inside their neck that kind of like shines
Oh
when they do it.
fuck.
And they go like, what shall we do, master? And the frogs
Good.
go, And the frogs go, "What's true?
I go,
What do
everybody
you
should go
want,
go to sleep.
Master?"
Everybody go to bed. For the love of
And,
God, please return to your static state.
and they go, "But we hunger, Master. We hunger for flesh."
Okay, we'll figure it out. Please return to your static state of being.
They all just kind of like float back down, and they look like dead and lifeless.
The, the next day, I fire up a fucking barbecue grill and I just throw them all in there
Okay.
and I close the lid.
You light that fucking barbecue grill outside, and you what you did is you had like a just a little sack garbage garbage bag. You just put all the origami that you made into that, tightened, like, put a knot in it and like tightened it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You walk over to the grill. You look down at the charcoal inside there that's just like burning and burning. And you look down at it, and as you dump the the origami, different origami figures into the barbecue grill, you look down and you just think about like, oh, from their perspective, this looks like hell. You close it, you walk away. The rest of the day is fairly uneventful. Um, you end of the night, you crawl into bed, spent and exhausted, and pull the covers up, and you kind of like settle into bed and a nice evening of sleep. You close your eyes, and then you hear like, "Master," and you go, "Huh?" And you wake, and you open up, and in front of you are all of the origami, and they all look like Freddy Krueger kind of. They have like
oh,
horrific
what the
like
fuck?
like
They're
burns. You know what I mean?
paper. They're made out of paper.
And you hear them all scream at you at the same time. Um, Why have you forsaken us? And they just rip all your flesh off,
Fuck you.
and they eat you alive.
They were paper. They would have burned into entirety to
You
ash.
turned you turned on your creations. You sentenced them to hell, but they escaped, and now you're fucking dead.
Whatever. Fuck them.
The
I didn't
next
want to be
day,
there anyways.
you're found. Your skeleton is found. There's like not a scrap of skin left, and there's like the origami are like never seen again.
Who cares? Send my ashes back to the States.